Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to begin again. I want to remind everyone, please just take the conversations outside. And I would like to now introduce Kathy Haley, the co-founder and publisher of TV News Check, for our first fireside chat with the Weather Company, using weather to drive OTT engagement. Kathy?
Hello, everyone. We're going to be talking about OTT, about streaming channels, turning the weather into a streaming channel. So as Tom Sly noted in the last, is my mic on? Can you tell? Is it? Okay, good. As Tom Sly noted in that last session, there's a very large opportunity for local TV station groups in streaming for engagement and monetizing audiences. Nielsen's The Gauge report noted recently that almost 38% of all TV viewing is now on streaming platforms. For local TV stations and even networks, weather continues to be a driving force for viewers and engagement. As TV moves into these new spaces, will the traditional weather forecasts still work? Or should your teams be thinking about new ways to engage audiences on new platforms? To answer these questions, I'm here with Ethan Dreilinger, Client Solutions Engineer at the Weather Company. We're going to be discussing recent research on OTT, and we're going to talk about what the Weather Company's clients are experiencing as they move into OTT weather channels. Given that this is a session about engagement, we have an informal poll. Whether you work at a media company or not, we want to know what you think is the biggest barrier to entry for linear media companies to enter the streaming space. Is it infrastructure, content creation, cost, or human bandwidth? I'll name out those, and if you would raise your hands, we'd appreciate it. Is infrastructure the biggest barrier? No? Is content creation the biggest barrier? They're not putting their hands up. Cost? There's a man who knows. Andrew, I'm totally blanking because I'm on stage, from Smith Geiger. Human bandwidth, getting your staff to produce theirs. So we have 2 for human bandwidth, Ethan. That's like a segue.
That was like the lead ad,
too. To your technology. Thank you for that. Ethan and I don't mind if you ask us, you're going to ask him the questions at any time. I'm totally convinced you'll have better questions for Ethan than I will. Ethan, I want to ask you about competition in the streaming marketplace for weather. This is really becoming a saturated platform for streaming with a lot of different options. What competitive advantages are you seeing that broadcasters have over the big new competitors in the OTT space?
Broadcasters have such a built-in advantage in this space because they're in the market. They've built a brand in these markets. They've spent money, time, years. Some of these broadcasters have been in these markets 70 years. They've built that brand, and they have teams in those markets. So you're able to be in that market, address that market, understand what's going on in that market. Apple has a great integration with Dark Sky. You know what they don't know? What your market is like. They can't tell you what's important in your market versus what's important in this market, what's important in another market. So that's the advantage. That's the built-in advantage that local broadcasters have, and that's where you have to start from to embrace that.
So as our audience noted, the big challenge is creating highly produced weather content for digital. How important is it for the weather team to be specifically making content for streaming?
I think it's important for everybody to make content for streaming, and all of the other platforms that you're involved in. And you have to be able to make content that's tiered towards that particular platform as well. It's not just cutting and taking that weather forecast from the linear show and then pulling it into your stream. It doesn't work. People know that you're doing that. You're not addressing them. And I don't normally do this with notes, but our head of marketing is here and their statistics, so I just want to make sure I get them right. So we've done a lot of research in this spot. We had a 600-person focus group, for instance, around CTV. A majority wanted to see more experiential content and relevant content to them. What's important to me? Make that nice up. And then health issues, weather health-related issues. So think about the weather planner and think about the outdoor weather forecast, or the outdoor workout forecast and stuff like that. 49% interested in just that weather planner. 55% very interested in outdoor weather forecasts and stuff like that. So you can easily take that data that your meteorologists are using every single day on air and tailor it to address individual niche needs within your market. It's easy to do. We have some tools around automation as well that we'll talk about in a little bit that make that simple to do. And it addresses it and pulls people in, because your goal is around engagement now. It used to be tune in. When I started in this business, right, it was all, hey, tune in at 11 o'clock for this really important story we're going to tell you. That's not the goal anymore. It's engagement. Can you get me to come back tomorrow? And that's what you have to think about.
How can broadcasters streamline the workflow? They're already maxed out. They can't hire any more people.
So I travel a lot. I've been in a lot of television newsrooms. I've met with a lot of corporate overseers or different broadcast groups. The one thing I have not heard anybody say in the last 9 months, we're going to hire 500 people to do this. It's the people that are sitting in the room that are going to have to figure out a way to make it happen. And that's where we've developed some tools over the last couple of years around automation, around simple storytelling, templated storytelling, to really go from idea to video to engagement quickly. And the nice thing about it is that you can really spin these up and down quickly. So you can address stuff that comes up in the market. So, hey, summer's in New York City, all about street fairs. Do a street fair report, because I'm not going to need that in the winter. In the winter, I probably want, school closings or something like that. So you can easily spin these up and down and make them make sense and make them meaningful to me.
So I remember what we've talked before about these tools, and I think what's interesting about the templated approach is that it allows people from the news team that aren't meteorologists to help out. They can create content with some of your tools.
So we have a product called Max Velocity, and I call it Weather Aware, because it's built on our platform, our Max platform, which all of you meteorologists are using, and they do content with it every single day. It's a really powerful tool, but it's really for the weather team. The ability to do mapping, the ability to draw like lines, to track stuff across. You have your teams out doing storm coverage. Where's the storm coming from? Where's it going? Everybody can kind of be part of that storytelling capability, and then add in some of the other features, the templated side of what our platform does. It lets you pull experts in. It lets you pull graphics in. It lets you pull video in. Really simple, really easily, and you're able to get that story out in front of people quickly and easily, and it's well produced.
This is my favorite part. We have a good video coming up here. Let's see. I want to ask you about your customers and what they're experiencing and creating for the OTT market.
Wait, let's see if I can get this right.
Yay.
Bam, look at that. So here's just some examples of what our customers are doing. And again, I'm just going to make sure I get the stats right, because Teresa's sitting here. I've been out with people, and what we've talked about is that the groups that I cover, I'm aware of 4 of them that are planning to launch 24/7 fast channels in 2024. Some of them will be 24/7 weather channels, and then they'll have a 24/7 news channel standing next to it. Some of them will just be a news channel with expanded weather holes available to it. And then all of that is going to come from the existing teams that are there. There aren't going to be new hires. So you're able to leverage that technology, leverage all of the tool set that you've already got in your facility, and create these experiences. This is a mix of automation and templated storytelling that's up on here. And these things are really easy to do, compelling stories, and they drive engagement. I'm a biker. I live in the city, and I'm a biker. I can look out my window and determine if it's going to be a good day to bike. What I can't determine is the pollen count. And for those of you who can't tell, right now, pollen's really high because I'm struggling with my allergies. If you can tell me that information, though, before I get on my bike, I'm with you for life, because that's the information I need every day to determine what I'm doing. And these kind of stories are what drive me to come back into those platforms.
Is it too early to say what percentage of your fast channel weather is devoted to this sort of, they're very beautiful graphics, or someone standing there and telling me the weather? Does anybody know yet?
Nobody knows. And the nice thing about this is it's an open canvas right now. It's an opportunity to put something in market, get some data, and make some data-driven decisions around what works, what doesn't work, what would work better if we just made this change? And what's so bad? How did we ever think that was a good idea and just pull it out? Because it's an opportunity to fail fast and succeed quickly.
How do broadcasters need different streams for .2s versus a fast weather channel versus a website weather feature?
So a couple of the stations that I've visited this summer have started to spin up their .2s and .3s even. And some of them have 24/7 news and weather, some of them have 24/7 weather, etc. And what's nice about it for these particular stations is they're taking those .2s and they're putting them out on Fast with Fast Aggregator. They're putting them on their website. They're putting them into their mobile apps. They're putting them onto their tablet apps. And they're getting the content out in front of people. They're getting that monetization going. They're churning the engine around. That they're introducing in their markets how to monetize, what this will look like, what the value proposition around it is, and they're getting all of that beachhead information that they need to then, in next month and the month after that, go back to these people and say, hey, listen, look what we did for your brand. You can see it right here. And that's the opportunity that exists today. As we kind of go through the next year, 25, 26, some of this stuff will become a bit more homogenized. And you're not going to have this opportunity to really get out, experiment with it, and understand what's going to work in your market.
I have to ask you about the magic word, revenue. What's going on with monetizing weather on fast channels or OTT?
So again, BIA services report local streaming with video ad is on the rise. It seems a $7 billion industry. That's a lot of money, right? And it's a tremendous opportunity. And the research that we've done over the last few years, weather's a key influencer. And we've seen that even before streaming, that weather is an influencer. We have, if you've seen any of our decks or PowerPoint slides or anything like that, you've probably seen a slide from us that weather the original influencer. And that's because it is. Before I bike, I look out the window. Hey, do I need a long sleeve, short sleeve? Is it gonna rain? Am I gonna check the weather to see what I need, if I'm going to a game or a fair or something like that? Do I need an umbrella? Do I need a raincoat? I was just in Scotland a couple of weeks ago and I was really happy I decided to bring a toque with me because it was really cold and wasn't expected to be. So these are the kind of things that you check the weather a little bit and it influences what you do, what you purchase, the decisions that you make, what you wear, the activities that you do. It's a great way to brand yourself in a brand safe area with information that people want. And the nice side on the revenue side is that your teams are already selling weather. Weather is the number one item sold in local markets. So just extend those sponsorships. You have a couple of key sponsors, bring them into the tent and tell them, hey, listen, this is something we're messing around with today. We'd love to have you as part of this journey with us. Here's what we're doing. Here's where we're going.
You have automation, I know, that allows a sponsor to even log in and create something like a ski forecast or, like you said, a cycling forecast. How hard is that to work?
Well, certainly the meteorologists all know how to do it because it's built into our platform. It's part of the plumbing that's already in place. One of the nice things about it, though, is that, the video showed, you can really kind of go through these and create a bunch of these things. The graphics look great. I mean, we showed you some examples here. The nice thing about everything that we showed you is it matches the station branding, the station look and feel for that particular station. So it's really tied into what that station is doing, and it's not jarring to the audience. It's just really good information for the audience, the information that they're looking for to drive engagement. And on top of that, it's sponsorable because, the pollen report, right? I'd sponsor it if it got me the pollen report.
We have to wrap up, Ethan. Any final thoughts about experiences for viewers, reducing friction?
The focus has to be on addressing audience where they are and driving that engagement where they are. Get out, get onto these platforms, get content on these platforms, get your messaging on these platforms, and then reduce friction. Make it easy to get that information that people are looking for. If you can start to do those things, the money will follow, the engagement will follow, and the brand loyalty will grow. And it's really about just getting out and doing it and starting simple and crawling and walking your way up to it.
All right. I'd like to thank Ethan Dreilinger, Client Solutions Engineer for the Weather Company, for joining us today. Thanks a lot.